Alright, you guys. So, Ubisoft has been on such a downward trajectory for God knows how long. But once upon a time, Ubisoft was literally one of the best developers in our industry with games like Splinter Cell, Prince of Persia, and the Assassin's Creed franchise. Now, when they announced they're going to remake Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which was one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games. I was pretty excited just because I would like to re-experience that game. I would like to see it in, modern visuals. Hopefully, get rid of some of the stuff that were a little janky, and hopefully deliver us something pretty cool. As I played through Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, the remake version of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I was pretty taken back by one, how little needed to be changed because this game is just almost bulletproof. I think so much of this game was done right. But also the thing that kind of like shook me a little bit more was just remembering how great Ubisoft used to be once upon a time. In this video, I'm going to talk more about the things that I really like about this game, the things that are still janky, and overall just my impressions after playing and beating Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. Let me know down below your guys' thoughts, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And without further ado, let's get more into this video. Alright, so just a little background me with Assassin's Creed. I was there for the very first one. I played it back on 360. I thought it was a cool game with a lot of cool concepts, but I remember I never beat the first one. Somewhere along the line I got kind of bored of it and just moved on to a different game. Then we get introduced to Assassin's Creed 2 with Ezio and the whole Ezio collection, and I thought, that series of games were phenomenal. I loved Ezio. I loved all the little quirky stuff that Assassin's Creed was able to bring, where they touched and brought in history into this fantasy world that they kind of created, and I just thought it was super, super cool. Fast forward to the launch of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I thought this game was super cool. I thought they invigorated and did a lot of things very different with the Assassin's Creed franchise. One, you're a pirate, you have the whole open world that you traverse by boat, which I thought was super cool. I love the fact that you're not really an assassin, you're kind of like, you know, LARPing as an assassin. I thought that was super cool. I just thought they did a lot of really cool, interesting things with Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And as I kind of like drift further away from the release of that game, I think, in back of my head, I know it was a great game, but I kind of forgot of how great it was and a lot of things that made it so special. Another thing too is I kind of forgot how good Ubisoft games could be, and replaying Resynced reminded me of all the things that I thought made Ubisoft really creative, really cool, taking their formula and just kind of turning it on its head, or even just kind of like making that formula fun. I think in a modern Ubisoft game, we kind of look at this, huge list of checklist stuff that a lot of it is just like for filler's sake. In Assassin's Creed Black Flag, all that filler stuff adds, it's all additive to either building out you have this little island that you can build out and add more buildings, that those buildings help you unlock more upgrades, whether it be weapons, whether it be better upgrades for your bow. Doing ship combat allows you to acquire more materials. Hunting different animals allowed you to make more different clothing, etc., etc. All these checklisty things that all kind of add to your character, add to your game, add to what's going on. Yes, do you need to do any of it? God no. The combat is fairly simple for the most part. You can get away with just traversing and doing the combat alone. You can stealth kill pretty much anything. So you don't necessarily need to go through this checklist stuff to like add, a new sword or a new gun or make your ship stronger, etc. You don't need to do any of those things, but they make the game funner. They make it more immersive. They allow me the creativity and freedom to kind of just enjoy this game naturally. And I think that's one of the things that Assassin's Creed used to do really well, and Black Flag was kind of like a hallmark for what an Ubisoft game could be. And again, just as I'm replaying this game, the amount of times I get lost doing side tasks, the amount of times I'm drawn towards doing something else that isn't the main quest, is something that I think Ubisoft has lost in a long time. And this world is so intriguing. You're sailing across the Caribbeans, and as a big fan of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, like this is literally the greatest pirates like video game ever made. This is the greatest way to kind of like experience being that pirate. Like I'm a sucker for stuff like this. I like sea shanties. I like the open ocean. I like the way that pirates communicate to each other. I like the, mutinies and backstabbings and traitor stuff. I love that morally a lot of this is questionable as far as what's right and what's wrong, right? So I love the way that this game feels, the world feels, and the way that they were able to remake this game and literally hold on to all that magic is something that, like, you always worry when someone's going to remake a game. Whenever a developer says we're going to remake a beloved game, right? You're always kind of like, ooh, how much of the sauce is going to get taken away? Or how much of, like, my memories of this game is going to be kind of wrecked because it doesn't hold up in a modern era. In playing this, and it looks amazing, and all that just adds to the game even more, makes this the definitive way to play Assassin's Creed Black Flag. There's nothing in here that gets taken away for the most part. I think all of it is just additive as far as making the gameplay smoother, as far as making the graphics smoother, the colors more vibrant, the world more gorgeous, the character models look more amazing. They add extra dialogue to help flesh out the story a lot more, give you more context to what's going on in the world, more context to these characters that honestly are some of the coolest characters in Assassin's Creed, in my opinion. Because, like, there's characters in Assassin's Creed 2 that I remembered, like, obviously Leonardo da Vinci, Ezio, etc., but not as much as I remembered from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. When I kind of think of the characters, and their impact on this world and all this kind of stuff, I don't know. It's arguably probably my favorite Assassin's Creed game, and it wasn't until I was replaying this game that I was able to kind of like feel those connections, because I was always an Assassin's Creed 2 person. That was the one that really, really cemented my enjoyment in this franchise. And I guess we'll see if they ever remake that game, then maybe that game tops Assassin's Creed Black Flag. But right now, after this remake of this game, I definitely think Assassin's Creed Black Flag is up there as my favorite Assassin's Creed game. I think if Ubisoft takes anything from Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, it's that you don't need to overcomplicate things necessarily. What works works, but finding new and creative ways, finding new worlds to place these things in, is, I think, the key to staying afloat and creating great games that people want to play. I think when you grab, like, the Far Cry franchise, right, or the Far Cry formula, and you kind of just plug it into a franchise like Avatar, Star Wars Outlaws, etc., I think you definitely lose a lot of what makes those worlds unique and special. And I think that's what you got to really dive into. The thing that makes Black Flag so special is that they didn't shy away from the whole piratey stuff. Like, all of this is the pirate's life. You take down ships, you go harpooning, you rob people, you do all these things that you would expect a pirate to do. You can go and drink, you can go and pay girls to distract your way so you can stealth around, etc., etc. There's a whole lot of, like, dirty, undermining grit that's in this game that I think Ubisoft really, really nailed, and I hope they learn a lot more from this. With all that being said, this game isn't perfect. There's definitely a lot of jank, a lot of problems with this game. Parkouring is parkouring, just like it is in any Assassin's Creed game. Half the time it works, half the time it doesn't. A lot of times you'll latch onto a ledge that isn't the ledge you wanted to latch onto. A lot of times you're, like, trying to stealth something, you're trying to drop, and then you get kind of stuck dropping. So that kind of sucks. That is what I've come to expect from Assassin's Creed at this point, is that parkouring is, sometimes it feels amazing, and then out of nowhere it just feels clunky. The latching on isn't always great. The combat is great, but not necessarily the most fun combat in the world. I think it's definitely serviceable, right? It's your basic see color, press button. You see blue, you parry. You see red, you dodge. You attack, you sweep. It's nothing too crazy. It is annoying when you get shot from somebody from a distance and you don't quite know where they're at. That is a little annoying. But for the most part, nothing too crazy. And the stealth is it's good, but sometimes I definitely don't feel like you need to be stealthy. I think more often than not, I just kind of run around and click triangle. I think it's too easy to stealth kill a lot of people, especially after I play a game like 007 First Light, which, I mean, that's the game that came out today versus Black Flag that came out years ago. So a little unfair, but again, I just feel like the stealthiness could be better. But again, like, how much are you able to change in a remake? I get that part. I just hope that they end up making another one. They can kind of feel free to iterate a little bit more, or maybe even add a harder mode, etc. But it is what it is. Another couple of things that I thought were really janky was a lot of times the game would glitch. There's a part where I'm in this like square and a bunch of enemies are coming towards us. One of the enemies like far off got like stuck, and I was in a barrier, so I couldn't like get to them, and they couldn't get to us. So I had to restart the mission, which sucked. And there's a lot of moments like that where, like one time I swung onto a boat and the boat didn't exist anymore, it just disappeared, and stuff like that I thought was pretty glitchy. Obviously, not the intended design. I had to restart a couple missions based off of just simply the game was bugged, and I had to restart to hopefully get it right. A lot of times where I would platform onto a part of a boat and then I get stuck there and I just can't move anymore. So the game is definitely janky as all hell at all. Like a lot of times, the combat is a little off. Targeting I feel like is a little rough sometimes. Um, but all of that I think comes with the territory of what this game is. Uh, I think if when you remake a game, you kind of want to like polish it as much as you can without taking away its character, without taking away its flavor. And if I get a remade version of Assassin's Creed Black Flag that's still janky, I think that just kind of adds to the flavor of it. I think that just makes sense. I think if you're to make it too polished, it wouldn't be as fun of a game, in my opinion. It would lose a lot of its luster, in my opinion. Overall, man, Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is probably one of my favorite remakes in a long time. I've had so much fun playing this game, and it just reminded me how much I love Assassin's Creed. And this is a game that even after completing it, I can just kind of exist, just because, again, this scratches a weird pirate itch that I just have since watching Pirates of the Caribbean. Anyways, those are gonna be my final thoughts. Again, let me know down below your guys' final thoughts. If you guys are playing it, etc., etc. I'll see you guys in the next one.